CPTSD. Great news, we have a pop quiz. That's right. Tonight is a pop quiz. Now, if you have some past trauma around quizzes in school, you might already be starting to get a little bit of anxiety, but you don't have to worry. There's no need to be anxious. This isn't a quiz that you needed to study for. This is going to be a CPTSD assessment quiz. So what I'm going to do is read off a list of symptoms of CPTSD, and you're going to take your pen and your paper, and then you're going to write down when I name a symptom that you still experience. When I name a symptom that you still experience, then you're going to write it down on your piece of paper. If you notice as we're going through that a lot of them are things you used to experience, but you don't experience anymore, congratulations. That means you're healing, or you may already be healed. How do we know we're healed? Well, when you don't have symptoms of CPTSD, then I consider you to be healed, as I would imagine anyone would, because you don't have the symptoms anymore. So, congratulations for those who are not experiencing these symptoms. And for those of us who still have a few symptoms that we're working on, no shame in that. That's what this group is about. All of us here have had these symptoms or are still experiencing them. So make sure you got your pen ready for this quiz. You don't have to be you don't have to be studied for this quiz. This is a CPTSD assessment. So as I go through each symptom, you're just going to write down the symptoms that you do still have. If you don't have them, you're just going to say, no, I'm not going to be able to hear you, but just inside your own house or in your head, you just say, no, not anymore. That's fine. Okay. At the end, I am going to ask you a little bit about the symptoms you still have. Okay. So let's see how well we're doing. Let's see how much we've healed so far. And we'll be able to compare ourselves for later. So take these notes down of the symptoms you do still have, because then we can compare that later as you continue to grow and to heal. You will heal. If you stick with this, you will heal. Okay. It's my personal commitment to you is that we're not going to stop. We're not going to give up until you are healed. So, first symptom, avoidance of people and social situations. No, you don't have it anymore. No, you never had it. Or if you are still experiencing it, then you just write down on your page avoidance of people and social situations. Next one, avoidance of relationships. No, you don't have it. Not anymore. If you do, write it down. Avoidance of relationships. Estrangement from other people. Do you experience estrangement from other people? This is the feeling that you can't be close, especially anymore, to people that you used to be close to, where you're losing relationships, not because they're toxic, but because you're having trouble hanging on to relationships. You don't feel like you can connect with people. So write that down, estrangement from other people, if you're experiencing that symptom still currently. Feeling distant or alienated from the rest of the world. Feeling distant or alienated from the rest of the world. Write it down if you're still experiencing it. If not, feeling reactive and triggerable. Feeling reactive and triggerable. If you're still experiencing that symptom, go ahead and write that down. Feeling reactive and triggerable. Feeling extreme anxiety to the point of having flashbacks. Feeling extreme anxiety to the point of having flashbacks. Feeling excruciating fear. Feeling excruciating fear. Just write them down for yourself if you still have it. Just write it down for yourself. We'll get a chance to share it in a little bit. Feeling excruciating fear. Feeling overwhelmed or paralyzed. feeling overwhelmed or paralyzed, feeling evil, guilty, or contaminated, feeling evil, guilty, or contaminated. Write it down if you have it. Having easily hurt feelings, having easily hurt feelings, feeling misunderstood or like you don't belong, feeling misunderstood or like you don't belong, feeling unlovable or not worthy of love, feeling unlovable or not worthy of love, not caring what happens to yourself, not caring what happens to yourself, abandoning your life to flee the source of your fear, abandoning your life to flee the source of your fear, feeling lost in your belief system, morals, and values, feeling lost in your belief system, morals, and values, feeling like you're less than human. You feel like you deserve to be treated inhumanely. You feel like you deserve to be treated inhumanely. You constantly question your own sanity. You constantly question your own sanity. You have problems with your heart or energy due to extreme stress. Problems with your heart or energy due to extreme stress. You become numb or have numb sensations, pins and needles in the body. You've become numb or have numb sensations like pins and needles in the body. You feel hatred for yourself for your mistakes. You feel hatred for yourself for your mistakes. You don't forgive yourself. You don't forgive yourself for your mistakes. You feel pervasive psychological pain or angst. You feel pervasive psychological pain or angst. If you have the symptom, write it down in your notes so we can address it later. If you don't have the symptom, congratulations. Maybe you used to have it, but if you don't have it, you don't have to write it down. You feel despair like you will never heal, or you feel eternally broken. You feel despair like you will never heal, or you feel eternally broken. Shaming yourself. Shaming yourself. Feeling the need to save others from becoming victimized. Feeling the need to save others from becoming victimized. Losing your sense of purpose or identity. Feeling lost like you no longer have an identity. Losing your sense of purpose or identity, or feeling lost like you no longer have an identity. You never feel very close or trusting of another person. You never feel very close or trusting of another person. You've lost all hope of meeting someone who will be kind or loving towards you. You've lost all hope of meeting someone who will be kind or loving toward you. You're struggling to make decisions. Struggling to make decisions. Struggling to set short-term or long-term goals. Struggling to set short-term or long-term goals. Struggling with attention, memory, or learning deficits. struggling with attention, learning, or memory deficits, feeling like you struggle to do things you used to enjoy, feeling like you struggle to do things you used to enjoy. You no longer feel like yourself, or you feel like a shell of yourself. You no longer feel like yourself, or you feel like a shell of yourself. You struggle to manage your emotions. Excuse me. You struggle to manage your emotions. You feel an ongoing sense of threat, an ongoing sense of threat. You obsess about your abuser. You obsess about your abuser. You avoid triggers. You avoid triggers. You have suicidal thoughts. And then the last one is people pleasing. People pleasing. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Great work, everybody. So, first thing we're going to do is a little survey here. So, if you don't want to share, you don't have to share, but in the chat, in the written chat, if you can let me know if you are someone who is experiencing three or less of these symptoms, or less than three of the symptoms. So if you find yourself around 2.5, 2.75 of these symptoms, just say me. Just write me in the chat. 2.5, 2.75 of these symptoms, less than three, just write me in the chat. This is a survey for my understanding of the group here. Wow, a lot of you guys have come a long way. 6, 7. So rough estimate, just write me in the chat if you have about three or less of these symptoms now, currently. So I'm seeing around 11 or 12 healed members. If you have three or less of these symptoms, you wouldn't qualify as having CPTSD anymore. So you can consider yourself healed for the work that you've put in. Congratulations. Stick with us here. We still got a lot of great information for you. But congratulations on your hard work. You're at a good point. Obviously, there still might be a couple. So congratulations though on your progress. If you're in our group and you don't mind sharing, if you have more than five or more, we'll go five or more. Please say me now. Okay, I'm seeing around about 20 of us have five or more. So congratulations, you're a mess. No, it's no, you're fine. You're okay. You would qualify then as probably having CPTSD if you're experiencing even three or more of the symptoms. Then you would qualify as having CPTSD, but you don't have to worry. That's what we're here for. We're going to help you to heal these symptoms. Okay. So if I know I skipped over you, if you had in between 3 and 5, I know I skipped over you. That's because you're doing really good. You're almost there. We just got a couple more symptoms we got to heal to get you out of the fog. So I know I skipped over you because you're doing really good. I need to know how many have five or more. And I know some people love to trauma dump. So if you have 10 or more and you wanted to share that, now is your chance to shine. Go ahead and say me in the chat if you had 10 or more of the symptoms. And you don't have to share with us if you don't want to, but if you wanted to wave your flag right now as super traumatized, now's your opportunity. Feel free. Thank you so much for sharing with us, guys. So you're amazing. So whether you wanted to share or not, and whether you have 10 symptoms or 27, as one person said, however many symptoms you're experiencing, this is not a time to feel any type of shame. In fact, in general, we shouldn't feel shame. Shame is just some maladaptive response. In fact, it's one of the symptoms. So you could just go ahead and cross that off because we're just not going to do shame anymore. There's no good purpose to shame. Okay, it's not going to help you get better. Like, oh, I'm ashamed because I have these symptoms. No, no, no. That's why we're here. And you know a lot of other people who have them too. I would estimate more than 1 billion people are probably walking around with symptoms of CPTSD. That's my personal estimate, but I would estimate it's a lot. It's a lot, like 1 in 4, 1 in 5. So let's get to work on these. Okay. So look on your list and tell me, write down in the chat the symptom that stands out to you as being most pressing for you to fix. The symptom that stands out to you as being most pressing for you to fix that you currently have. If you would just write that symptom in the chat for me, please. Flashbacks, angst, shame, inner critic, not caring what happens, avoidance, rumination. You say disorganization? I didn't say that was a symptom. Avoiding, you made up your own symptom. Struggling with memory deficits, that might be what you're talking about. Feeling misunderstood, negative self-talk, another for flashbacks, another for avoidance, overthinking, loss of purpose, feeling reactive and triggerable, avoidance of people in social situations, panic attacks, obsessing about your abuser, controlling emotions, memory deficits, avoidance, isolation. That counts as avoidance, goal setting, rumination, avoidance, heart issues, distant from the world, rumination for sure, loss of purpose, paralysis, need to save others, easily hurt feelings, rumination, ongoing sense of threat, goal setting, memory deficit, avoidance, overthinking, controlling emotions, numbness and sensation, struggling to set long term goals, overthinking, despair, having no desire to be alive, feeling unlovable, not worthy of love, says one of the most lovable people I know. Reliving, rumination, struggling to make a decision, set goals, struggling to make a decision, controlling emotions, flashbacks, avoidance. All right, very good, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That'll help me to tailor our content moving forward. Make sure you're getting the answers that you really need. Since avoidance and memory deficits was a really common one, let's just touch on those things. So, what is it that's making us feel avoidant? What's making us feel avoidant? What's actually happening there? What's making us feel like we need to isolate? We need to run away. We need to say no to opportunities, to relationships, to meeting people. What's causing that? Because it definitely can cause a lot of issues in our life, right? If we're avoidant, it can cause a lot of issues. So what's really causing that? Yes, Paul, exactly. So at the very root is fear. At the very root of avoidance is fear. So what would happen if I took my car to the gas station and instead of putting the regular unleaded or a premium in, I put diesel gas in my car? What would happen if I put diesel gas in my car? Any mechanical minded folks here? Tell me what would happen if I put diesel in my car? Car would break down, you'd need a new car, and my engine would seize up. It would mess up the gas flow. Yeah. It would be not good, right? It would damage the engine. It'll lock the engine. Good. So here's the thing. Um, there's two motivators that you can use in life: fear and love. Now, what do you think you were designed to run on? There's two fuel sources that you can use. If you go against the manufacturer's recommendation and you run on fear, you're going to seize up, you're going to lock up. It's going to destroy you. It's going to destroy your life. You are supposed to be running on love, not on fear. You're supposed to be running on love. What do we got to do to switch? Well, first of all, we got to drain the engine, right? Because now we got all this diesel inside our fuel line. And if we don't want our engine to lock up, we cannot take another mile, another, like, how far do you think I can drive before my engine breaks down? How about let's not even try it, right? So you don't even want to move another inch before you drain that fuel line. We got to get that fuel line totally flushed out, and we got to get the right type of fuel in there and make sure that none of the bad fuel got into the engine, right? And so that's the same thing you need to do right now. Do not move another inch based on fear. Do not move another inch. Do not make another decision based on fear. Everything you do needs to be based on love. But in order to do that, you need to understand what love is, because it's not a feeling. Love is not a feeling. It's not just a feeling. What is love? What is love? Anybody know? Anybody can teach us what love is? You learn to love right here, Vincent. This is love class. Someone said it's an action. Someone said it's an act. It's a state of being. Hmm. We got some star students in here. Said love is a choice. Love is a choice. Okay, good. That's correct. But a choice to do what? What do you do to love? Like, what is the actual choice, the actual action? A choice to do what? Now let's see if we have some real star students here. Very closely, very close. Very close, Paula. Pretty good, Paula. Yes. I don't even know this name here. One now. To concentrate and focus on the best things, the most beneficial things about your target. Write that down, Vincent, everyone. Write down what love is. Love is the choice to focus on all the most beneficial things, all the good things about your target. So that could be a person. So if I say I love my daughter, what that means is that I focus on everything that is good about her, everything that I appreciate about her, everything that's beneficial towards her, how I can benefit her. And the secondary part of love is then to do the things that are beneficial towards said person, right? And so I can't just think about those things. I must also act according to what will benefit my daughter. If I love my wife, that means I'm focused on everything that is good about her, everything that's beneficial about that person, everything that aligns with my values about that person. I focus on those things, and then I must do the things. So if you want to love your husband, it's not a feeling. It's not based on a feeling. It's not a vibe. It's a choice to focus the mind on everything that is good about that man, everything that's beneficial about him, and to do the things that are beneficial towards him. That's love. Okay, great. So, how do we love ourselves? How do we love ourselves? Well, then we must just turn it inward. We need to choose to focus on everything that is beneficial and good about ourselves. That's loving yourself. If love is to focus on everything that's good about the target, then self love is to focus on everything that's good about you. And the secondary part is to do the things that are beneficial toward yourself. You guys got love written down because too many people didn't know what love was here. We need to know this because this is the fuel we're supposed to be running on. We don't even know where to pick this fuel up. So you pick it up by creating the energy. You create the energy of love through your mental focus. You create the energy of love through your mental focus. What you've been doing is creating the energy of fear through your mental focus. Everything that's bad, everything that's detrimental, all the worst possible things. That's what you've been doing. So you've been creating an energy of fear and then allowing that. Now you got this fear inside you. Oh, now this will guide my actions. I know I'm just not going to trust anyone. I'm going to avoid all people. That's not love. That's fear. It's not beneficial to yourself. It's not really beneficial to others either. All the avoidance. Some people who are avoidant really end up hurting people who love them or loved them because they ran too fast or they avoided and they didn't talk about their feelings. They didn't talk about emotions. Does that make sense? So we stop with the avoidance by using the new fuel source. So instead of focusing the power of the mind on everything that's bad that could happen, you start focusing on what's beneficial for me to do toward that person and for myself. And you'll realize very quickly when you start meditating in that space that avoidance is not beneficial. It's not beneficial for you. It's not beneficial for them. Unless you've recognized that they're toxic, then healthy disconnection, of course, is beneficial. But if the person has not already been identified as being toxic, then you don't need to avoid them. You can be open for connection. You haven't identified that they're toxic yet. Wait, wait. Let it cook. Let it play out. Allow yourself to see what their actions are. Being so afraid of relationships and getting hurt that you don't even allow yourself to have any connections is not going to be a strategy for life. You wouldn't do that to your child. You wouldn't say, I'm really afraid that you're going to get hurt out there. So you can't have any friends. I don't want you making any friends at school. I don't want you talking to those kids. You just come straight home. You go straight to your room and you don't talk to anybody. You wouldn't make your kid do that. That's not love. So why are you doing that to yourself? Don't do that to yourself. That's not good parenting. You don't tell a child that they can't talk to anybody. No. What do you teach a child? Be careful, right? Around grown-ups, don't talk to strangers, right? That doesn't mean they can't make friends at school with other kids. Does that make sense? So you got to be reasonable with yourself too and allow yourself to be open for connections with some people in certain circumstances. It's okay. It's okay. The way you figure out if a person is actually toxic or dangerous to you is through being open to the connection so that you can actually observe their interactions with you and others. And then when you start to observe their interactions, then you recognize, that person's toxic. They don't respect boundaries. The boundaries, by the way, are what's going to keep you safe. Your boundaries, your assertiveness. As soon as you speak up, it's going to show what the person is because they're either not going to be able to handle it or they're going to ignore it and push past it or in some way disrespect it. And if they do that, then you know they're toxic. It's just that simple. Anyone who's not toxic, who's good for you, is going to show you the respect of your boundaries. And you're not going to have any problem. So show up as boundaried, show up as assertive, and you don't have to avoid all relationships.